RJ, that happened. Oh, I didn't want that to happen at all. That was brutal. I mean, the first thing you and I said to each other when we're just getting ready to do this is the first comment in chat that we have from Emmy, no words. Like, that just about kind of sums things up after that brutal 6-5 loss to the Canucks in a shootout. Oh man.
Yeah, it sure does sum it up. I mean, we'll go through, we'll talk through everything as we do. It'll be a good Emerald City therapy session presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. But man, this was a tough one.
You stole my thunder. I had a whole lead-in thing for the
Oh no,
presented
I'm
by
sorry.
Queen Anne Beer Hall.
Okay, forget I did that. Go ahead, just do it. Just do it anyway.
Well, I was just gonna say that I was going to applaud all the brave Kraken fans who made the trip up north to Vancouver for this game, braving the weather. Hopefully, everybody stayed safe and continues to stay safe as they all make the return trip back down. And then, because of the weather, I was going to remind everybody, you're looking for a place to escape the cold, escape the snow. Queen Anne Beer Hall has you covered. Good place. You could hang out, watch games, hopefully better games than the one we saw tonight. And have a good time. Nice, warm environment there. So that was what I had planned. I'd been sitting on that all day too.
Of course, I had to go and mess it up. It's that kind of night, isn't it?
It really is. Everybody's
I'm
just
the Elias Pettersson of your wonderful segue there.
Oh, too soon. All right, so let's start off with just some comments. We'll try to get all those initial yucky feels out of the way here to start tonight's therapy session off. Coop, I want to throw up. I know how you feel. Hunter blew it. Joey, damn you, Kraken. Hunter, it would be nice for the defense to show up every once in a while. Joey with the we choked. Why the F does Hackstall not send out Sprong, not Maddie, Burakovsky, Bjorkstrand, McCann? Coop there, presumably talking about the shootout. I will say Daniel Sprong's been kind of on a tear. I don't necessarily mind his.
Yeah, a couple goals in that game. Just scored on a breakaway the game before. I don't have a problem with that one.
Yeah. Kraken, okay, guys, let's finally beat the Canucks and give our fans a great holiday gift. Nah.
Something about the Canucks, man.
It's totally right. Ty, signature loss there, beat on transition, then beat in front of the net. Scouting report on this Kraken team is to have the crease to yourself and just dunk. Ugh, in all caps. And you know what? We get some more what just happened, huge choke, some more stuff in there. 0-5-1 against the Canucks. Joey pointing out all time now. Hey, we're at least on the board. We have a point.
First point against the Canucks. Let's go.
Woo! Throw the confetti. It's things are rough, but it was a problem all night tonight, RJ, and it was a problem in that first game against the Canucks earlier this season. We are just allergic to trying to deal with them net front. I don't know what it is, but they just can park themselves net front, be right there at the side of the net for a tip-in goal. Our defense just has this massive blind spot when it comes to Vancouver Canucks players sitting in front of our own goaltenders.
Exactly. And I pointed it out. I did a tweet with pictures, if everyone's seen that on Twitter, where it shows the Canucks' first 4 goals. On every single instance, there was a Canucks player. The goal scorer was completely untouched, not a single Kraken body part on him, within 5 feet of the net, right in front of the goal crease every single time. They came in some slightly different ways, but that was kind of the commonality there. And it just comes down to this issue that we've talked about really since the start of last season. And granted, it has been better this year, but still needs work. And that is just cleaning up guys in front of their own net, getting bodies on players, making it tough to live there in front of the net. And I think, Ty just talked about it. Have the crease to yourself and just dunk. That's exactly what the Canucks did in this game.
Yeah, just help out your goaltender a little bit. And the one thing I will say about this is, do we ever see the Kraken in that scenario? Not really. We didn't really see that tonight, right? So that's and think of how frustrating that is. Think of how much harder the Kraken have to work for each goal there. Bless you, by the way.
Excuse me.
Think how hard the Kraken have to work to get each and every one of their goals, and then kind of the difference on the other side of the ice when it comes to what the other team has to do to generate theirs. And it's just one of those, like, gosh, I would love to just see Matty Beniers just be able to park himself in front of the net, or Jared McCann or Oliver Bjorkshire, anybody, right? To kind of like hang out there and be able to get those kinds of looks. So I think that still, we've kind of been talking about it off and on all season, certainly these last couple of weeks. Priority number one needs to just be correcting that defensively, getting everybody to stay home. I know you want to be a little rangy as a defenseman. Certainly someone like an Adam Larson really wants to do that. But the bottom line is, the net is home. You got to stay close to home. You got to protect home. It's your castle. Whatever you want, whatever analogy you want to throw their way, whatever's going to resonate with these guys, got to start throwing that one out there. Got to clean that one up, because unless that gets cleaned up, you're always going to find yourself in close games, right? Whether you're winning or you're losing, the bottom line is the other team's always going to be hanging around. I will also point out 50-50 on the faceoffs tonight.
Exactly 50-50?
Exactly 50-50.
All right.
Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Shoeshine agreeing with us. Sprong had 2 goals in the game. Not mad about putting him out, to be honest. Agreed. Hockey Fork, the Squid don't deserve the loser point. Hot take.
Not a hot take, because nobody deserves the loser point. There should not be a loser point.
We could have this debate again on like Red Glare or something, but like it's fine. Brian with that's a choke job. Let's see. I really expected the Kraken to grow and learn from the last collapse against the Canucks. What a disappointment from Kraken Hawk there. And then we'll shoot down for this super chat that just came in from JMG. Thank you so much for the super chat. So frustrating. The defense in their zone is so passive. Really can't blame Jones on this one. No, you really can't. Anytime you're going to give your goaltender, put them in a spot where they have zero help in front of them, zero help, clearing bodies out, or you're just letting these guys sit in these prime scoring spots. It's just never on the goaltender. It's just not the way it is. And Jones, he made some fantastic saves in this one, RJ, that are just kind of not going to be remembered because of everything else that happened.
It's true. And this is one of those games where you really do have to rely on the eye test to evaluate the goalie. Obviously, Jones's save percentage, I don't know offhand what it is, but it's definitely sub 900 in this one. 865, and even the goals saved above expected of minus 1.4. That doesn't really tell you the story. I think you look at the pictures of like half a second before the goal, show that for every goal, and I think that tells more of a story than those numbers for Martin Jones.
Right. When you get that first one from Lane Peterson, gosh, just round of applause for John Forsland having to deal with the Peterson-Pedersen line combination there, and always getting that one right, because we all know I wouldn't. So,
that's for sure.
Just want to throw that one out there. That was very impressive to me. That first one, like I talked about it on Twitter, that was one where obviously it's kind of like a 2-on-1 type of situation. Pedersen's able to make the pass across to Peterson, and that's like a cross crease move for goalie. We see that become a goal a lot. But it shows like that one I felt like was the least on the defense, because you have Jamie Alexiak who's coming over to try to go after Pedersen. He almost blows a tire, but he certainly loses his footing, and it causes him to have to just try to play the pass. Right. And instead of being able to do what he wants to do, which is fully press Pedersen and be able to really pressure him. And I think if that one little thing doesn't happen, and again, that's really hard to control. I'm not blaming Alexiak here at all. He did a fantastic job recovering and doing his best to take away that passing lane. But that's one of those ones where like that's just an incident of just you hit a little chip in the ice, your leg goes for a second and it pulls you out of position. It keeps you from being able to do what you want to do. And then this goal gets generated from it. If Alexiak doesn't hit that little nick in the ice, he's able to just fully pressure Pedersen. Pedersen probably just ends up rimming it around, sending it deep. He's not able to certainly make a pass because he's got Alexiak coming after him with stick to puck and everything. It just shows that like sometimes it's bad luck. Other times though, it's just you're not covering anybody. Like they're just coverage misses. But I did want to throw stuff out there like that. Like it can sometimes just be bad luck. Evan, that was a tough one. It was indeed. Tammy, happy that Bjorkstrand got a goal, though. Yes, we spent a lot of time talking about him, all the chances that he's been getting, how well he's been playing. Another 6 shots, again, leading the way for the Kraken with shots on goal. 6 tonight for Oliver Bjorkstrand. Picks up a goal and an assist, +2 on the night. He's just continuing to play well. Like, that's just what he does.
Yeah, and he's actually getting rewarded for it now. Can't believe it. But yeah, no, this was definitely a big positive story in this game was Oliver Bjorkstrand, finally, getting rewarded points wise for how well he's been playing. And like he said at intermission, hopefully this starts to build momentum for him because I mean, he's been playing well, just hasn't been getting on the score sheet, but hopefully that changes now.
Yeah, I think it will. Just law of averages at some point. I mean, he took 5 shots in the last one, 6 in this one, like 11 shots in 2 games. That's a lot of shots. They got to start going in eventually.
Yep.
Assuming they're not all just from past the blue line. We haven't even talked about that one yet.
Oh yeah, that seems like that goal feels like so long ago, doesn't it?
It really does, because it was hours ago. Just the incredible forearm strength from Jared McCann to kick things off, pick up a point for Maddie in his Maddie for Calder campaign.
Oh yeah, speaking of Dylan, see what arrived today.
Yes, let's go.
Check it out. This one is actually yours. I will give this to you when you come up here.
Yes,
but check it out.
Wait.
How it looks in
looks
person.
Fantastic. The colors look so awesome.
I know they really
Blue's really popping. Wow. Yeah, that's totally awesome. But yeah, just oh my gosh, the forearm strength to rip the puck like that from that far out, RJ.
I know, insane.
Nuts. I don't ever want to try to shake his hand because he'll just crush mine, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Greg. Okay, this is getting annoying. I'm going to the next Canucks game, and this crud is ending. Let's go. We need to get everybody who's a good luck charm in the building for the next game against the Canucks. Like that is what it's going to take. Let's see. Ty, season 1.
Speaking of good luck charms, Ty.
Yeah. And we'll keep Ty as far away as possible. Season 1 versus Arizona, level of disappointment here, lol. Frustrated with the same old stuff. We shouldn't have been in a shootout. An ounce more effort from Schwartz, and it's done with an empty netter. I don't know. I think he was caught a little off guard by how close that Canuck there was to him. And then obviously getting the stick on stick, I think, if I'm remembering.
Yeah,
right.
It wasn't a clean look. I remember it was not a clean look at the empty net. So those are always tough.
Yeah. So that one's tough. And then you got Coop with the also, and then all in caps. Schultz, can you please score at the end of regulation and save all this other mess? What was up with that one net where it just absorbed so many shots off the posts, off the crossbar, like all night long? Anybody who hit a post, it was all on that one net.
I know. Maybe they just gave the post a fresh coat of paint. It looks a little shinier, draws the shooter's eyes. I don't know what it is, but yeah, lots of posts hit on that one.
Yeah. Let's see. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of this game, RJ, was momentum swings. And that started really like we got our first taste of that in the first period where, believe it or not, wasn't it? I believe it was a shot advantage of 7-0 for the Kraken, 6 or 7-0 to start this game off. Like the entire first 5 minutes, I believe, were all played in the Vancouver zone. I know that's, not totally true, but it's sure how it looked and seemed. But then the Canucks get their first power play opportunity. And while the PK was successful and Vancouver wasn't able to get a goal, they were able to build a lot of momentum because it was not a very clean penalty kill from the Kraken there. And I felt like the rest of that period, Vancouver has momentum. They're able to tie it up before the end of the period. And then that was just like this repeating notion all through the night is whenever the Kraken were able to build up momentum, something would happen and Vancouver was able just to rip it back.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad you brought up that PK there because while the Canucks didn't score, it's one of those power plays that you're able to generate momentum off of. It's something that people in the media will it's a talking point for players and interviews and whatnot. But that one was really a demonstration of that concept. And I think we both agreed on this. I sent you a text at the time too that I agreed with your tweet that the Kraken just weren't being aggressive enough on the puck carrier. They were giving the Canucks all kinds of time and
Yes.
space, especially at the point, to work the puck around. And you remember, Dylan, we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the deep dive, how when the Kraken were really struggling on the PK, that's kind of what we identified as a big problem, is that they were being too passive. They were giving the other teams lots of time, and they weren't, pressing at the point enough. I think the Kraken have kind of gotten back into that form, unfortunately. And the Canucks, especially as much skill as they have around the outside, Elias Pettersson is like the perfect example of that. They're going to make you pay if you just sit back.
Yeah, again, just like with the 5-on-5 opportunities and the net front coverage and everything, this game is a good example of kind of like what the Kraken maybe should be doing or should be working on. Go back and you look at the one power play opportunity for the Kraken. What was it that the Canucks were doing? They were really putting pressure on those top three players, right? They were putting pressure on the point. They were putting pressure on the two players playing on the half boards. And it really disrupted everything that the Kraken wanted to do. They were never able to really get any sort of good looks. They got a couple good one-timer looks, but they were also a little bit delayed because of that pressure allows Spencer Martin to get over, make those saves. And that was a lot of what I want to see the Kraken PK look like, is doing that, having that pressure, being really active, having the trade-offs of coverage. So as the puck moves, the next player is already taking off. They're not waiting for someone to get over there and take their spot and then hand it off. That's a lot of what I want to see the Kraken start doing. So kind of an interesting night in that standpoint, that you could kind of just look across the ice and say, hey, maybe let's learn something from this.
Yeah.
Gary here, hockey is still fun. Yes, it is. We still got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
fun hockey in this one. And if you did make the trip up to Vancouver, I mean, you did get your money's worth. This was
Oh yeah.
definitely an interesting game. Joey, I don't want to hear, well, at least we got a loser point, but then followed immediately by Striatic, hey, good teams figure out how to get a point. So differing
There's a reason I
philosophies
didn't do my
there.
standard tweet at that point when the Kraken were leading 5-3 in the third. Like, good teams find a way to get at least a point here. No,
Yes.
good teams find a way to get 2 points there.
Yes. JMG with another super chat. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
JMG. Feeling it tonight. Excuse me.
You all right there? All right, I'll
Yes.
read it. Is this more of a player problem
Yeah.
or a defensive philosophy problem, or both?
That's a tough one. I think for the most part, I mean, defensive philosophy problem, this is basic defense stuff. Like it's just stuff that everybody learns. We've talked about teaching the squirts we were coaching back in the day, this in youth hockey. So I think it's more of a player problem, whether it's like something on the PK where Adam Larson is playing a little maybe too high. He wants to go up and allow guys to get behind him, or it's just guys not keeping heads on swivels and checking around them enough. I think it falls more so on the player execution side of things, not necessarily what the coaches are drawing up.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that, because they should be being told all the time. You got to clear out the guy in front of the net. You got to get physical. That's something they've heard since they were kids. It's just a matter of actually going and doing it. And it's not the most pleasant, work to go do, but it's just something that's necessary.
Yeah. Gonna read this one from George here. This one stings. Hindsight is 2020, but you'd think Berkey, McCann, Eberle would have been the safer shootout choice. Should have finished them in regulation. I agree. They should have finished them in regulation for sure.
Yeah, first and foremost.
They were the better team, I think, for the most part here. I don't know. I'm fine going with Donato, who had scored in 4 games in a row leading up into this one. Sprong with 2 goals tonight. Like, I think that's a fine choice.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, are we forgetting already just how automatic Ryan Donato is on breakaways? It just feels like every single time. And yes, the puck kind of jumped on him, and it really, he wasn't able to get the look he wanted. But I was thinking before the shootout, that's who I would pick. I was Donato, Sprong, and I don't know who else. And of course, Eberle's the one who scored, so it was a good choice. But yeah, that is one thing I don't have a problem with in this game, was the shootout shooters.
Yeah. And it is just one of those things, it's a judgment call. You got to go based on what you're feeling, how the
Yeah.
guys are feeling, all that kind of stuff. It's
And at the
tough.
end of the day, a shootout, everyone talks about it. It's kind of a crapshoot. If you
It
if
is.
you get to that point, then you kind of deserve whatever's coming to you, whatever luck of the draw you get.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to go win it in regulation or overtime.
Yep. Leanne, I really thought this would be a dance party, group hug, right there with you, Leanne. That's what we're all here for.
Yep.
Devin with the Vancouver as Seattle's number. I mean, they just do. They just do.
I
There's no
don't know
way
what it
around
is.
it at this point. Tammy, I need Afra therapy. Oh, she's not with me right now. I'll see if I can get her up here in a little bit. Let's see, Gregory. We choked this game away. Man, I'm tired of losing to Vancouver. I am too. Oh, I am too. See our bud going cross sport. This game was as empty as the Mariners free agency.
Oof. Don't need to remind us there.
Yes. Let's see. Rinse and repeat with this team against the Canucks from Dexter there. I know. Hunter, we have to wait a month to play them again. That is a little brutal.
I know, like I
Definitely
want
a
the
little
Canucks on the
brutal.
schedule again, like right now. That's
Yeah.
what I would want.
Let's see. I love him, but Yanni's penalty just blowing the door wide open for that comeback. A stupid slashing penalty while skating behind a guy. What are your thoughts on that one, RJ?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, the penalty and like kind of how far behind the guy was. I mean, it certainly was a big momentum shift. Like you can't, you just have to stay out of the box. I mentioned it in the first period, like the way your PK is going, you have no margin for error there. And that goal was big in them coming back.
Yeah, it was. And it's just, I mean, it just feels like we can never kind of get away from that discipline penalty problem, whatever you want to call it. Like
It
it
keeps
is
coming
just,
up.
whenever we find ourselves on the wrong side of the end result of a game, this tends to be something that we end up talking about. So yeah, it's just a rough one there, Coop. Let's see, Dexter, big rig, yet he can't defend the net front. Lol. Right now, they're all struggling. It's not just him.
Yeah.
Let's see. James, I can't believe it. I know. Let's see. Devin pointing out a positive, though. Fastest 2 goals in Seattle Kraken history, though.
That's
When we
true.
go
That was
back
a
in
cool
time.
stat to come out of this game.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Light, while frustrated, no game this season will be an easy win. The Kraken need to be better, and I have faith in them. We as fans didn't go through last year to let this loss have us lose faith. Light, you always come in with like the right thing to say in these situations.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Looking
Maybe
at the
you're like,
light side of things.
I was gonna say, maybe you're like a therapist for your day job or something, but you always know exactly what to say. But it is very true, right? Like we're still in a fantastic spot. You look at where both of these two teams were in the standings coming into this game, and then even walking out of this game. I certainly rather be in Seattle's shoes than Vancouver's. And it is, I know we were talking about it a little while ago, but the bottom line is you did pick up a point. Like it isn't all for nothing. And there
Yep.
is something to be said for that when you might find yourself in a close race later on in the season.
Yeah, say what you will about kind of the league's point system and who deserves what, but this is half a win. As crazy as that sounds, it's half a win.
Yeah, and just don't look at how many overtime loser points Calgary has if we have to deal with them at the end of the year, and you'll be fine. All right, I got her here. Afra,
Yay!
lean in.
Okay,
Lean in
yes,
a
this
little
everybody
bit.
needs this.
Here we go. Thank
Got some Afra
you.
therapy here.
Therapy dog Afra. Good
Dog scoring on the
girl.
screen. Let's go.
There we go a little bit. There we go. All right, let's see. X Kid Z. Ugh, I don't think I've been this upset over a loss. If there's such a thing as an unrequited rivalry, I think this is it.
I know.
We
Certainly
talked
on
about
one end,
this.
man.
We talked about this last year. Remember, RJ? The whole idea of like, well, it can't be a rivalry until both teams get a win, and like, and what, like, well, I don't know. Like, is that even going to happen with this thing?
I feel like this is just kind of like the hockey gods coming in because this was like the manufactured rivalry that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And that just they're like, okay, because you're all trying too hard to make this happen, one team is just going to win all of these games. I don't think it's like, the Kraken deserved to be the team on the losing end of it. It just had to go one way. But like I think this might be the hockey gods just responding. You're like, you're going to try and make this thing a thing. We have other plans.
I was gonna say maybe it can start because we have a point now. Like maybe that's what we needed. is that
That's
how
a
it works?
low
Maybe
bar.
just a
I don't know
little?
about that.
I don't know. Hunter, big rig needs an oil change. Vancouver is Michael Myers from Daniel there. Tammy, good to see Matty come back after that stinger, but he wasn't himself after that. Tough kid, though. Yeah, I mean, Matty, he blocks that shot, goes off the inside of his skate there, off the foot. And I do agree. He seemed to maybe have lost a step a little bit. And that kind of continued all the way into the 5-on-5, the 3-on-3 overtime.
Yeah, but can't blame him there. I mean, that spot hurts. I've gotten hit by beer leaguer shots there. I cannot imagine what an NHL level shot feels like in that spot. It's just you got to lose all your feeling, in that leg for a little bit. And it took him a little while to get back out on the ice. So not surprised it's got some lasting effects. But like you said, tough kid though. He's gonna play through whatever.
Yeah. Let's see, Dexter. I feel like we work so hard for our goals and dominate 5v5 for it all to be thrown away by defensive fundamental lapses. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it feels. Like it does at times, right? Like, especially because Root has been bringing that up as one of their things that they do at the beginning of games is that they'll point out how many even strength goals each team in the game has had, and the Kraken always lead that number. Like we've talked about like their special team problems and whatnot, but the Kraken do a fantastic job of generating chances, having that depth of scoring again. It's the bottom six of the lineup, kind of maybe carrying the goal scoring for them tonight. But like at some point, it just feels like wow, like it just takes so much more effort for us.
Yeah, it does certainly does feel that way. But I think we've seen glimpses this season of, well, if you can just clean up those lapses, how good you are at 5-on-5 means you can do some pretty special things when you're not making those mistakes, like go on 7 game
Mhm.
win streaks. So there's the upside of it at least that they're
Right.
so good at 5-on-5. You can just clean those things up. You're a dangerous team.
Agreed, agreed. Let's see from Dylan. A point is still progress against Vancouver, miles ahead of where we were at this point last season. I'm not worried. I agree with you. And then Kevin Smith, playoff bound teams find a way to lock down that third period. Changes needed on the D line. I mean, maybe. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the year when this was a struggle for them. The idea of maybe changing up the defensive pairings. Do you think at some point we do you think with Hackstall would ever see that?
I not if everybody's healthy. I think, and I think there is some merit to this line of thinking where if you can just get that chemistry down and let your D pairs just build that up and kind of marinate just for as long as they possibly can, they're gonna have they're gonna be better than if you just kind of mix things around all the time. And I do think they're that can be a good line of thinking. We haven't seen the alternative this season really where the D pairs have been shuffled a bit, or I guess the few times we have due to injury, it's looked certainly worse. But
Mhm.
I think it's still the way to go and just keeping the guys together unless things get really bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It is hard because it's not like it's a chemistry problem. It's just like a fundamentals problem.
Right. That's the thing.
Oh,
I don't think chemistry is the issue here.
no, because like so many of them are also whether it's letting somebody get behind you or it's my defensive partner is already, down behind the net and then I decide to also jump down below the goal line and leave the net front. Like that's if you're making that decision, you're going to make that decision regardless of who you're playing with. It's just a
Yeah.
decision that doesn't need to be made. David asking thoughts on the first line switch. So we talked about this a little bit after the last game. It seemed like everybody was pretty positive with the kind of little bit of lineup changes that we were seeing. Thoughts on it after this one, RJ?
I'm still happy with it. I mean, you can see that it certainly got Bjorkstrand going in this game, and I need to go back and check on this because I think it was like second intermission that I last checked. So obviously, a very influential part of the game that I missed there. But you look at those two lines: Schwartz, Wenberg, Bjorkstrand, and then the Burakovsky, Gord, Donato line. They led the Kraken in. Those were the top two lines in 5-on-5 ice time, and they both had very good expected goals percentage. I remember it was in the 70s of percent that I saw at the second intermission. Okay, so the Wenberg line finished with 61% expected goal share, the Gord line with 73%. But that's pretty good on both of those. Of course, the fourth line, Tanev, Geekie, Sprong with 92% expected goal share, just dominating as we know they can.
Yeah.
But like I think the results were generally good in this game. Again, it's just those few moments of lapses, but I don't know how much of those were really on the forwards. That's just on the D clearing out the front of the net.
Agreed. I think everything's still okay there. Like at some point, it does feel like, okay, maybe we should stop relying on like the bottom six or certainly the fourth line to be generating as much offense for us as they do. Like at some point, you need your top guys to kind of really get going in the same way that a Daniel Sprong has been, or a Ryan Donato, right? Morgan
Yeah.
Geekie again with another solid night. Did he pick up a pair of apples? No, only one assist tonight from Morgan Geekie. But again, making his presence very felt offensively on that fourth line. So I do think that at some point, yeah, Beniers, turn it on a little bit. Wenberg, it was awesome that he shot the puck and got a goal tonight. Really, really happy about that. But I still feel like he could be maybe doing a little bit more as far as setting up his line mates. Burakovsky feels pretty cold. Eberle feels pretty cold, right? And so at some point you need those guys to maybe wake up and join in on the fun at some point here. Let's see.
All right, we got a super chat from CR Bud. You
Oh,
see that one?
okay.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I know it kind of got lost in this. It didn't pop up for me, but I see it now. So thank you, CR Bud. Need a little more Afra. Still too irritated.
More
All right.
Afra. More
I think
Afra.
this calls for a little bit more dog scoy therapy.
There we go. We'll get
There you
Afra.
go.
I'll get her treat bag out. Let's see here. Schultz asking, do the Kraken just not want to beat the Canucks? Maybe that's it, RJ. Maybe we've been thinking about this all wrong.
Yeah. Although, I mean, that would mean that Jared McCann was lying because he said that they wanted to beat the Canucks this morning. So,
Oh, and he would never lie.
I
That's
don't think so.
not to us. Not to us. Let's see. JMG, prevent defense never wins. I would agree with that. That is a message that applies to all sports for sure. Ayers asking, have the Kraken ever beaten the Canucks? No. I mean, have we beaten them in the preseason? I think we beat them in the preseason.
I think in the preseason, I think. I don't know. But then they also lost. I think in that game also lost Donskoy indefinitely.
Well,
So
I was
is that
thinking
a win?
their first ever preseason game, I believe, was against the Vancouver Canucks, and wasn't that a win last year? Like
yeah,
the
actually, you
first
know what? I
ever
think you're
out
right.
in,
And then they were
yeah.
also 2-0 against them in the preseason this year. So
Yeah. Let's see. Ty Sprong sitting at 10 goals, 19 points in 25 games. For a dude who earned his contract, he shouldn't have to going forward. No, I don't think he'll ever be put in that same position again after the year he's having.
no, definitely not. 19 points in 25 games while playing fourth line minutes. That's so impressive.
Yeah, agreed. He's phenomenal. He's been
And then,
phenomenal.
yeah, as Bazzi pointing out, Sprong is second in 5-on-5 goals per 60 since the 2020-21 season, behind Austin Matthews.
That's pretty good company to have then when it comes to goal scoring prowess there. Let's see. Beep boop. Why did Jones start? Why is Burakovsky on the third line? Why did we not use our best shooters for the shootout? Pick a question there, RJ, and give an answer.
Let's start with the first one. Why did Jones start?
Yeah.
Because he was coming off a good start. In his last game, I think they wanted to continue to ride with the hot hand. I know. I think he's got pretty darn good career numbers against Vancouver. I mean, he's from North Vancouver. That's his dad was in the stands there and everything. But he's got pretty good career numbers there. He's coming off a strong game. I think that probably explains it.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see. Addressing the next one, why is Burakovsky on the third line? It's hard to say that it's really the third line as I look, and I think he led all Kraken wingers in ice time tonight. So it's
those top three lines really, they're kind of interchangeable ice time wise. And you're right, he did lead all wingers in ice time. So hard to call it a proper third line. And Hackstall says as much too. He's like, I know you guys like to put labels and everyone puts numbers on it, but like we've got these three really strong lines here, and they're all going to kind of be going.
Yeah, and they do rotate them around based on game flow, right? Like Hackstall, this is what we know about him. So I do think like when we talk about Matty Beniers centering the first line or whatever, it's all like kind of true, kind of not true. Like it's kind of It's flexible. And then why did
Yeah.
we not use our best shooters for the shootout? Just to quickly touch on this because we talked about it earlier. Donato's been hot. Sprong was obviously hot in this game. Everly obviously got the goal. I think that it makes sense why you'd go with them. I don't know that you necessarily have guys that. Well, I guess I'll say this: 5-on-5 scoring doesn't necessarily translate to shootout scoring. Like it's a
That's what I
different
was getting
skill
at. The
set.
best,
Yeah.
yeah, the best scorers in the game aren't always the best shootout shooters.
Yes. Let's see. Schultz asking, do you think the Kraken will send Tolvin into Coachella Valley on a 5-game conditioning stint similar to what Wright did? Is that an option for him?
I believe it's an option for
Yeah,
any
I guess
player. I mean,
so. Yeah.
The Red Wings used that with Magnus Hellberg after
Yeah.
claiming him off of waivers. Like it is possible. I don't think it'll happen just because I mean he is the one extra forward that they have up on the NHL roster, and he would still
Hmm.
take up a roster spot. So if you were to need it, someone, and I don't think it's that necessary that he gets into the games right away. He's still got to learn a lot of system stuff. I don't think it's hurting him just practicing right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fine. And, look, there was a reason that they wanted to bring him in. The team had been playing well. Maybe after a game like this, it's obviously a long break before the next one, but, maybe we see him next game out just from the coaching staff, maybe trying to send a message or try to give a different look after something like this. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, Peter, here's a pure hockey question for all of you. Why did Jones start?
Oh,
Did stupid Axwell not see the last time we played against the Canucks? Tonight was the worst game I've seen in Maddie and Berkey. All right, so we kind of just addressed the Jones
yeah, we
one
did.
there. I think that's fine. Worst game for Maddie and Berkey. Well, we talked about it too with Maddie, right? You take that puck off the inside of your foot. It was clear that he wasn't necessarily feeling it the rest of that one, but I still thought he played a really strong game, as he always really does. And Burakovsky, third amongst forwards in ice time tonight, got 4 shots on goal. He looked pretty solid to me. He had some real nice scoring chances. I don't know. I thought they played fine.
Yeah, and I thought in Burakovsky's case, I thought he had a better early game than late game. So,
Yeah.
I think there could be a little bit of recency there, because I didn't think he closed the game out that well. But yeah, I thought he played fine earlier in the game.
Yeah, and as Joey pointing out down here too, Jones is not why we lost.
That is true.
I would agree with that for sure. Let's see. Um, let's see. Hunter PK is still a problem. It is. Talked about that before, and we've talked a lot about the PK problems. I'm again say it though, like low key, the power play needs to be better. I know you only got the one look tonight, but it wasn't great. And I feel like a lot of these close games that the Kraken either, whether they win or not, I feel like a lot of games are kept close because the power play isn't really feeling it right now.
Yeah, the power play can be a major separator in games like this where you can really pull away, and they just haven't been able to get those goals in those looks.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks that we only had the one power play opportunity tonight because I felt like there were positive momentum and positive steps taken in the last one, especially with Vince Dunn out there really rifling it from the point. So it's kind of unfortunate that we didn't get to see that tonight. Although he did 5-on-5 a couple times, he walked it in towards the center, and one time he was able to get a nice shot off. So gonna keep pointing that out when he does it. Let's see. Defense is confusing. Goaltending is inconsistent from Hunter. Defense is definitely confusing for this team. I will say that. Let's see. Sean, that entire third period and overtime was just such a massive switch from the first 40. Defense just absorbing and absorbing. Overtime was totally ineffective. Got whiplash from second to third period. It was a little bit of a shift. I felt like the Kraken were actually pretty good the first 5 minutes of the third period. It was just kind of after that things really trailed off. As for overtime, RJ, the Kraken, their last 4 overtime games, all wins. Since they had been 0-3 to start this season in
Yep.
overtime. We all know the story of how they spent those practices really working on it and the immediate dividends they were able to reap from it. Been a little while now since their last overtime game that they've had to go out there and win. What'd you think of it? I still thought that it was okay. I thought maybe at times they were a little too passive. Maybe like to see another shot or two, but I'm also biased in that I just believe that anyway.
Right. I mean, I thought they still played okay in their, kind of new conservative overtime strategy. I thought they possessed the puck well. And they didn't give up a whole lot of high danger chances. The one they really did where they kind of got caught was where Jordan Eberle was forced to take a penalty there, which, by the way, I think that was a good penalty to take in
Yes,
that
yes.
spot. Because otherwise, I think that's probably a goal against you. But I don't have a problem with how they played the overtime. And especially given that where the momentum of that game was, whenever you have a team that blows a 2-goal lead in the third period, you feel like the team that's come back is going to have the edge in overtime. And if you can kind of get to a shootout and get to that kind of crapshoot type of thing, I think that does really benefit the team that didn't, or that did just blow the lead. So I don't have an issue with it, and especially when you got some good shootout shooters, you'd think usually the odds are on your side. So I don't mind them not taking more chances.
Okay. Let's see. CR Bud, y'all blaming goaltending tonight should go look at the photo RJ posted.
Yeah, go
uh,
go take a look at that.
for sure. Let's see. Joey, Canucks are all world when they play Seattle. I don't know what it is because they're
Some
not
teams
good.
have
As
other
Joey,
teams' number. I
yeah, it's just weird how that happens. Um, let's see. Bazzi, fourth line was the best line in all metrics. Why would you not give them more time on ice than 9 minutes? Some lines didn't have it tonight. I mean, it does kind of beg the question of, you know, we've been talking so for a long time now, right? Morgan Geeky, Daniel Sprong, and then kind of the other spot is maybe shifted throughout the course of the season, but they've been playing so well over the course of this year, RJ. Um, is it one of those where part of their success is maybe built on the fact that they get the good matchups by being a fourth line, so they're really good for a fourth line, especially going out against other bottom sixes. And if you give them the more ice time, then they're going to start running into other teams' top guys. Is that maybe the concern there?
I think that's part of it. I mean, they have been able to feast on some really good matchups this season, where they're just kind of outclassed these other fourth lines that are maybe slower, less skilled than they are. I think they've fared well, and this is again just kind of off my, basic memory test as far as when I remembered them going up against higher lines and other teams. I thought they fared okay, but yeah, you do start giving them more minutes, and the matchups do get tougher, and maybe it's more of a test. But I'd like to see maybe it tried one of these games, especially when they're like 90% expected goal share. I don't know. They put them out there against some higher lines, see what they can do.
Yeah, maybe that's something you can do at a home game when you kind of get that last change. It would be
Yeah, that's big.
interesting thing to try. It would be interesting to try. Something else, just because I I remembered it. Um, when it came to the overtime, Brandon Tanev was out there, right?
Yes, he was. Brandon Tanev
Yeah,
did get an overtime shift. I do
I
remember
think.
that.
Yeah, I think that might be more questionable than anybody questioning who they put out there for the shootout. Personally,
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I mean, again, we know he's got the legs. We know he can skate. We know all the effort he
yeah,
brings. But I'm sorry, he's not a finisher.
right,
And yeah, I don't know what he brings as
yeah.
far as the prospect of scoring you a goal that the other guys don't.
Right, like, I feel like you have a lot of guys that have, yeah, stronger finishing ability. It was interesting. I remember when I was watching it, I was like, "That's interesting."
It did catch my eye.
Yeah. Let's see, Tammy, you cannot put the D's problem only on the goalies. Our goalies aren't perfect, but they are being consistently let down by the other 5 guys on the ice. Uh, definitely been talking about that one tonight and the
Yep.
last couple games. Let's see, uh Coop, like something is clearly wrong when JT Miller, their best player, gets the same wide open back post power play look twice in a row. Yeah, that was, and I believe he had that same one in the previous game.
Yeah,
Like I
he
like,
did.
yeah, like this is just a consistent problem against this Canucks team. I don't
Yeah.
know what else to say about like how to fix it.
Yeah. And I know they do like, PK specific film meetings. Like they look at this stuff. I don't know what goes on in those meetings, but I know
Yeah.
they have them.
Um, let's see, JMG. Ron Francis has to put the focus on improving the defense this offseason. Um, I think that that's something that they'll look at. We've been talking, including on the last deep dive, I believe, right? The idea
Yep.
of maybe them, trading for a blue liner or something. I think things are coming there. They know it. You know what I mean? Like this front office knows it, the coaching staff knows it, the players know it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's obvious. This is what's constantly coming around to bite them. So um, I do suspect we'll probably see something. Daniel Sprong at point 76 points per game, playing fourth line minutes on a league minimum contract. I'm gonna go ahead and finish that sentence for you, Stratic. Can you say value?
Yeah. What a bargain. That
Uh,
is how you do well in a cap league.
yeah, and again, we were just talking about the idea of being a finisher. He's a finisher. That's a big thing. The fact that you can stick a winger off your fourth line on a league minimum contract out there on one of your power play and feel pretty confident in having him out there. Like that's a big deal. No, I don't know that any other team can really say that, or certainly not another team that's like hanging around in a playoff spot.
I like how much he's earned Dave Haxtell's trust in certain situations, especially when they're behind by a goal and they're
Hmm.
chasing a game. He'll put him out there in the top six role
For
because
sure.
he knows what Daniel Sprong's good at. But I like to see that winning the coach's favor.
Yeah. Gregory, adding insult to injury, the Kings win in overtime, shaking my damn head. And weren't they playing Calgary? So that's like another all division, everybody gets a point kind of
Yep,
situation. That is not
gotta
good.
gotta love those loser
Not
points.
not good at all here. I don't like him anymore. Um, Chris, only want to beat Vancouver. It just isn't meant to be. I know it really feels like that. Um, Let's see, Valentina. I benched Martin on my fantasy team because he's been so bad the last couple of games. Oof.
I feel like neither goal would help you out a ton in this one.
I was gonna say the win might have helped like turn it positive, maybe, but
Yeah.
still probably didn't leave too many points on the bench there. Um, let's see, some more defense must be fixed in the offseason there from Joey. Ty, commenting back on Striatic, he's averaging just over 10 and doing this, man. It's absolutely awesome. I didn't expect to see him. I don't expect to see him on the tryout contracts anymore. That is for sure. It's gonna be an interesting off season conversation. I'm all over again, RJ.
Yeah.
uh, Beep boop. That doesn't matter. You should always go with the most skilled shooters mathematically. Uh, Again, that one's tough because it's not like it's something that happens so frequently that you can build like a good data
You
set
always have
for.
a small sample size. Yeah.
Yeah. Hunter, John Klingberg, come on down.
We may see that this offseason.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Ayers, forget Vegas. What are the chances of overtaking the Kings in the standings? I mean, pretty good because we still have like a ton of games in hand on
Kraken
them.
have a ton of games in hand on the Kings. Let's check where it's at right now.
It's a
Um,
3-point lead for the Kings, but the Kraken have 4 games in hand.
yeah, you should be able to pick up at least 3 points in those 4 games. You go 2-2, you go 500, and you've accomplished that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next, I see from Sin City VGK. You do realize you're going to be in fourth place, right? You know who you're not going to catch Vegas. So I think this comment is a good reminder. Jay Fresh, who's on Twitter, just recently put out his most annoying fan base survey. So
Mhm.
everyone, make sure to go vote, get your answers in on that one. It's always fun to see the results every year.
Yeah, it is. It is. I would definitely say that. I thought about moments like now. I thought about games like just some that came to mind, like when Montreal came to town. Just these are things that I maybe thought of when taking that survey earlier today. Uh,
Yep.
let's see from Strife, Kraken to Canucks in Johnny Depp voice. Stop blowing holes in my ship.
That's pretty funny.
Definitely one of those nights. Um, let's see. Hunter, use some commas at Sin City. Um,
Yeah, I struggled with that one.
yep. All I'm in the opposite boat if anybody was reading my Twitter tonight. Ty, my buddy has the Bauer agent that Bjorkstrand is using. It's like 330 grams and has an insane release. The new stick comes through again. RJ, try one out if you can. It's insane, lol. So Ty getting ultra hockey nerd on us, RJ.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard about that stick, and I will keep it in mind. I actually just bought a new stick, got a new stick for my birthday last month, so I just got the first chance to actually try it out in a game a couple days ago. So when
And
that one's 3 goals and an assist, not bad.
okay, yeah, pretty good. Pretty
I
good.
didn't want to, I wasn't gonna like brag about it or anything, but
That's what I'm
anyway,
here
it
for.
works fine. It does the job.
Yeah. I love that you know exactly how much it weighs, Ty, because I have no idea what a gram is. Like, like I know what it is, but 330 is that super light? I take it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty light.
It's pretty light.
Also, it was cool playing that game at Angel the Winds Arena in a junior barn. My second game ever there. That was pretty fun.
Yep. Brian Bjorky with a goal, Wenberg with a goal. We gained a point over Edmonton with 2 games in hand and are in 3rd place and in the playoffs securely. When we are miserable, and that's the landscape. Me, likey from Brian. Absolutely love it.
How much higher our standards have gotten. This is great.
Yep. Hunter with the good night ECH community. Good times ahead for sure. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see. CR about Dylan Wenberg did shoot the puck, but he didn't want to.
Yeah, I tweeted. Was that a shot? Pass to the back of the net. It didn't look enthusiastic.
Yep. Kind of jumping down here a little bit because I realized just how many comments we ended up having tonight. Here with Brian. Oh, here's another positive. We held the Canucks. We troll Connor Garland to 0 points and a -3 for the night.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I noted
good.
Kraken killer Connor Garland. Not so much tonight.
Nope, not at all. Let's see. Let's see. Go check yourself. Maddie getting hit in the ankle scared me. Thank the Lord for young people's jelly bones. That is true.
Truly a blessing.
Fun fact, everybody, your skeleton is perfect at the age of 25. After that, it's all downhill.
Good to know. Also, happy birthday to my brother who turns 25 today, coincidentally. Yes. Keep that in mind, Joe.
Yep, your skeleton is perfect right now. From here on out, it's just slow decline. Let's see. Ty, the 95-37-9 line scares me a bit because all 3 of them attack the forecheck full commit. Almost felt like you let Gord go deep, Donnie on the sideboards, and Berkey float back higher in the slots. Almost feel like you let. I agree with that. That's exactly what I would probably do. I might actually swap Gord and Donnie, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, like Gord on the sideboards and then Donnie and deep. I think that would work better.
Yeah, and I'm just never a fan of having my center kind of be like the lead guy going all the way in there.
Yeah.
I think you want to maybe have them out a little bit. But that otherwise, yeah, I think there's potential there for that line though. For sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you play the right way, lots of different options as far as how you can deploy them.
Yeah. Super dangerous tie with the follow-up there. Let's see. Where am I going here? Coachella with their first ever teddy bear toss game tomorrow night. Dylan, you going? No.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive out. I wouldn't ask him to do 2 games that in such short succession there.
It's the drive, and the real thing is it's got to get a hotel, and that costs money. So that's the real limiter in this.
You all have been very generous in allowing us to do certain things with our budget, but we can't afford to send Dylan out to all the Coachella Valley games yet.
Can't be taking twice a week trips out to Palm Springs, maybe. Yeah. Let's see. Ty, also rumors floating around about Vegas in C-Town 2023-2024 Winter Classic. Have we heard anything reliable on this?
Now, reliable is the key word, and the answer is no. I looked into it, and it seems to all be stemming from a couple cryptic tweets and one since deleted tweet from an NHL rumors page. It does seem to have a lot of followers, but it's not verified. It doesn't seem the most legit to me, and I haven't kind of heard anyone legit confirming that. Also, with these sort of things, I will say, just being around the team as much as I am, you tend to hear a little talk, a little rumbling of things before a real announcement comes in, stuff that I can't like talk about. Usually at the time I have to be quiet about it, but I will say I haven't heard anything about this around the team. So maybe they're being good at about keeping tight-lipped about it, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I do think that there's some stuff that would bode in favor of the league having an outdoor game in Seattle sooner rather than later, such as Seattle being a top 10 revenue generating team already for the league. Generally, that gets rewarded. It really does, let me tell you. On the flip side, though, I do think that when people bring up the weather concerns, I do think that is a concern. Not because we haven't played Winter Classics where it started to snow and then it becomes a magical Sidney Crosby moment, but because the idea of if it just straight up rains, that's a problem because
Big problem.
you'll flood that ice really, really fast. That becomes dangerous, and it would not be a very enjoyable game to watch either. So I think that's more the scenario that people are maybe trying to figure out or work around, is the rain scenario. But yes, I mean, I think what you said is also spot on. This one, I'm going to read this comment. The comment is just pain, but I got to read it because it's from the Egginator. Look at that
Great
dashing egg
mustache
gentleman there with the
yes,
fancy mustache.
thank you for joining us.
Had to hit that one up. Got to give Jay some love for reminding everybody to like the stream here. Thank you so much. Emmy asking, when do you think training season comes back? I really want to see some improvement on the defense. Was the deadline late February?
I'm checking that right now.
It's usually around there.
I want the NHL, not the NBA trade deadline. March 3rd.
March 3rd. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was late February, early March.
So kind of in that week leading up to it, you'll start to see trades really start to pick up steam.
Yeah, it's still maybe a little early. Teams that might think they're still in it are going to fall out of it, and then they'll become sellers. All that kind of stuff has to happen first. I will say I have an awesome idea, though, for a deep dive podcast episode in January, RJ, as it relates to trades that I'm not going to say now. I'm going to wait because I was originally planning on doing it tomorrow or over the weekend whenever we record the next Red Glare podcast. I want to drop it on that and kind of reward the patrons with the idea, but it's incredible. Oh, it's going to be an all-time podcast idea.
That.
Let me tell you. Stu, I think the Kraken look great this year. Very happy how they are playing compared to last year. Agree, Stu. It is one of those things, like the day-to-day, it kind of gets hard to remember at times. But
big picture, very happy.
Much better. Yeah. Let's see. So I see Ty and Tammy in here both talking about T-Mobile and the idea of closing the roof. I understand that, but then that also, I think, to the NHL defeats the purpose of having an outdoor game. Right.
Yeah, if the roof is closed, it's kind of a different type of atmosphere. And I understand with the rain, you've got difficulties. And one thing I will add for T-Mobile as well, and I think Dylan, I want to talk to you about this because we have attended an outdoor game together at a ballpark, at a baseball venue. And I think we probably both agree the sight lines are not ideal. Okay, there we go. They suck. No, I'll flat out say it.
I was just getting there because if you're going to play it at T-Mobile and close the roof so that you're not in an open air environment or so to speak, then you're just playing a hockey game with like the worst sight lines imaginable. So it would be it would be an exciting thing. Like it would be an exciting moment for Seattle hockey and for the Kraken and all that stuff. And I know everybody would go there and it would be really fun. But also just know that like the actual viewing experience in the ballpark would be bad. It's just bad.
Yeah.
So
just flat out bad. So you should know that going into it at least. It was, and it was better at
in a football arena.
Yeah, at a football.
You did it at Levi, right?
Yeah, Levi Stadium. That's I was looking for the name.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I still think that something like a Husky Stadium would be better for something like that, just because of how the field is built, how you could actually have fans and
Yep.
see the game.
And
So
right by the water. The like the boat tailgating is gonna be amazing.
I know we got to take that back. Tampa, they've built like this whole industry on this idea of boat parades and whatnot. Like we could do that stuff too.
Totally.
Just throwing that one out there. Um, let's see. Ty, T-Mobile would be brutal. Little ballparks suck for hockey. Yeah, see, you know what's up, Ty. Yes, exactly. I bet they could fill that place. Cash. The roof is just for insurance. Yeah, I mean, you could use it in that scenario. You could. I don't know how fast it opens and closes. Like, oh, it's starting to
Yeah, I don't
rain.
know
Let's
either.
close it up. Oh, the rain's gone. Can we open it back up? Like, I don't know. That might get a little complicated for them. But we'll just
Yeah.
have to wait and see. Like I said, at some point soon, though, I do believe the Kraken are going to get rewarded with things, whether it is a Winter Classic, whether it is a draft at Climate Pledge
Yep.
Arena. I could see something like that happening very soon as well. I do think that the league has taken notice of Seattle's place within the NHL already, what they're providing to the NHL as a whole, from that revenue standpoint. That carries a lot of weight. It means in these meetings, Seattle can throw their weight around a little bit too, and kind of start asking for things. So I think that's all good stuff there, everybody. But I think we should probably go ahead and close it on this. It's been an hour. Want to
Yep.
thank all of you for joining us for this ECH post game live, as you always do. You guys are so awesome joining
Oh
us
yeah.
after each and every Kraken game. We love it so much. Once again, I do want to reiterate, you want to escape that cold weather, you want to escape snow if it's happening, or maybe just some really cold rain. Go check out Queen Anne Beer Hall. It's an awesome place to watch hockey or any sporting event. We've been talking about that a lot tonight. So want to thank them one more time for sponsoring us here. And then I do also want to, one last time, drive safe, everybody. Be safe with all the
Yes.
weather. Stay warm, all that good stuff. Take care of yourselves. I know it's the time of year where sometimes that can get lost as everybody's rushing around doing other things, but it is important to always make sure you keep up on that one as well. Thanks you all for joining us tonight, and we will see you all next time.